Welcome to the Gameinformer show. I'm your host, Matt Helgeson. In lieu of our normal podcast, we actually are really excited. We have a special edition podcast, and we're happy to be joined by Todd Howard of Bethesda, and we are going to be talking about Skyrim, which was our big cover story, and we've done a ton of web content, and it's really blown up on the internet. People are super excited about the game. I'm joined by Matt Miller.
Hey, guys.
And Andy Reiner.
Yo, Matt.
And, we're going to be asking Todd some questions. Todd, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You know, Todd, we got, I think, you may have set our record for the most people who have made comments on a story ever on Gameinformer's history.
I don't know if I should be excited or terrified.
A little of both.
We have there were over 1,600 comments, and many of them had multiple questions. And we've decided probably the best way to do that will just keep you on the phone and ask all of them.
Let's just go in order.
That's right. We'll just do every single
one.
one.
Even if they're redundant, ask them again.
But seriously, I mean, we had people are super excited about this game, man. I mean, even in the comments, I don't know if you saw any of those on the site, but the readers, I think they really wanted to express to you how much they appreciate you sitting in to answer some of these questions, because some of these guys, they really care a lot about this stuff. I mean, one guy ended his kind of a long comment of several questions apologizing that he had so many questions, but he said it was because, and I quote here, he cared about the game a bunch. I
think a lot of people do. It's a series that has gone on for so long. A lot of people have grown up playing it, so it's important to them, like it is to us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to answer a lot of the questions yet with no comment. But I'll do my best.
Well, that's okay. I mean, I think people in general just had these questions, and they want to know if you guys are ready to talk about that stuff, and if you're not, then that'll be that, and they'll just have to wait and see as the game continues to roll out.
Yeah, but before we get going with that, I definitely wanted to, you saying that, how many people posted there, and our fans and the people who have supported us for a long time, they really are the best, and they get into it, and we're fans too, and you guys as well. Matt and Andy and Matt, it's really great for us when you're working on a game for a long time, and you want to get it out there in a good way. And I think everybody at Gameinformer really got into it, and the web content you guys did, it's just been superb, and it's exciting for us to see it, come out in that way. I thought you guys have really done an awesome job with the content.
Well, thanks a lot, man. We like you said, we care a lot about the game, and we think you guys are doing great work over there. So it's a joy for us to get to help you kind of roll that stuff out and do some cool content.
Cool.
Yeah, Todd, I've been communicating with the Bethesda forums, the people there that are Skyrim fans, and they have one question, and it's kind of like a matter of life and death in the forums. It's the big question they wanted answered, and I'll kick off our questions with it. It is, are there going to be spears in the game? Seriously, these people are freaking out about it.
There are not spears in the classic spears sense. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
We're off to a bad start.
There currently are not.
Well, that does lead in, though, a little bit. A lot of the questions on the wider about the kind of wider experience of the game from numerous comments on the GI site were about kind of some of the weapon types in the game, and I'm curious, if you're able to talk a little bit about some of the weapons. I mean, we've seen swords certainly are going to be a big part, and obviously you've got the spells now that you can put into either hand. Are there any other kind of hints you can give us about the directions of different types of weapons people are going to be able to play with?
Sure. The main thing that I can say, and I see a lot of those comments, are they go back to, we had X weapon types in Daggerfall, then X weapon types in Morrowind. Oblivion has its own, and Skyrim has its own. And anytime there's something that we stop doing, whether that's spears, having a skill for that, or crossbows and things like that, we tend to, each time, start over. And we want to find weapon types with this game that really yield gameplay. So those skills are separate. There's a two-handed weapon skill, There's a one-handed weapon skill. There's an archery skill. And then there's all the magic stuff. But we'll just deal with basic combat. Two-handed skill, one-handed skill, and archery. Because those really are play styles. I'm going to use a one-handed weapon and then either cast magic with my other hand or use a shield, or I'm going to use a two-handed weapon where it's going to fill both those slots, obviously, two-handed. And within each of those skills, and this is another thing that I think has gotten confused when people hear there are perks. They'll say, well, there are perks like Fallout. Well, there are perks, but they're not like Fallout in that each skill has its own perk tree. So take one-handed, for instance. And the idea is you have a one-handed skill, and then you can perk that. There's like a skill tree underneath one-handed, and within that there are separate perk areas for maces, and then axes, and then swords. So as opposed to having, say, an axe skill, that is a part of the perk tree within one-handed, and we think that it gives us a better balance. So you can start like, well, I like one-handed stuff, and then you start specializing as you raise that skill. So within each of those trees, there are different weapon types that you can then get better at. I hope that all made sense. Without saying what they all are, but so that they actually have a gameplay difference. And something like Spears, I think is really cool. It's just something with where we're putting our time with the other weapons. It just didn't make the cut right now.
Got it.
That was a very long answer to that question.
No, I know, but that's cool. I mean, it's good to hear you kind of elaborate a little bit more on the way that those perk systems works, because there's definitely people who are curious in all sorts of directions about like not just what's different between Oblivion and Skyrim, but what's changed between Fallout and Skyrim. And I know you talked to me before about the idea that like in a lot of ways Skyrim's almost like a sequel to both of them, right?
It is for us because it's the game we're making after Fallout 3.
Yeah.
And there are similarities between how you experience an open world game, how you play a character of your own choosing, or it's classless, and there's things that we learn and can take from each of those games. Yeah,
for sure. Well, skipping over to kind of another general topic question that showed up a bunch of times. In fact, I think it was the very first question that one of our readers, a guy named Enthio, asked on the comments thing. You guys have had past experiences in the Elder Scrolls games where you could kind of like change form or be something different. Previously being a werewolf, in Oblivion there was kind of the vampire stuff. And right off the bat he asked if you're able to be a werewolf in Skyrim. And a lot of people, I think, followed suit asking about similar things, if you could kind of like change form or anything like that. Is there anything along those veins that you can talk about?
I mean, I can say that we're fans of that stuff as well, and we are currently messing with all of that. So I don't want to commit to here are the things you can change into and what they're like right now. Not because we're not doing it or not attempting to. I just don't know honestly where that's going to end up and how deep we're going to get into that.
Well, I can tell you,
a lot of times you'll hear this answer probably a lot. We will try things, and if we don't feel it's helping the game, there are other areas we'd like to spend our time on in the game.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, there's definitely I can tell you from our commenters, there's a lot of enthusiasm for that kind of stuff. So it's cool to hear that you guys are at least kind of exploring that possibility.
Yeah, and if you look at the Blood Moon expansion we did for Morrowind, which is probably the thing that we did that's closest to Skyrim in some flavor.
Mm-hmm.
The main gist of that was you become a werewolf.
Right.
So we do have some experience doing that.
Right.
Not too long ago.
Right. Well, kind of another sort of broad thing that as I was going through the 20, 30 some pages of comments that showed up on this story.